Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Book Chat. So I have a book today for you that I'm really excited about, kind of keeping in the theme of last week's Book Chat. So if you didn't have a look at that one, I'll link it in the description below. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the great book chats that are coming up. And so last week we looked at the impact of residential schools on Indigenous people in Canada. And it's a part of our history that has been really left out and neglected for a very, very long time. And so when I had a look at today's book, it spoke to me because it has that same theme of looking at a piece of history through a certain lens, but this author has really gone out of her way to kind of dig out the history that we know, but also dig further and have a look at the history that we don't really know anything about. So the book today that I'm really excited about is called On the Backs of the Enslaved, and it's by Cheryl Ann Amendola. And she is a fellow YouTuber, and she also has a really great Instagram account. And so this book is about the life of Thomas Jefferson. And so as a Canadian, we don't spend a ton of time learning American history, but we do live right on the Canadian-US border. So, you know, you get some through absorption. So in my mind, Thomas Jefferson is one of the great thinkers of the US in American history. You know, one of the founding fathers. Lots of positive things about Thomas Jefferson. So what I didn't know until fairly recently, was that he had actually been a slave owner. And so when you think about the ideals that he proposed, they don't really line up with the idea of slavery. So I love this book because it manages to talk about his contributions, but then to acknowledge all of the contributions of the slaves that made his success possible. And I think that when we look at history, a really important part of being good historians is looking at the narrative that we're being told or that we're reading, and looking for the voices that are missing. And often in American history, it is the black voices that are missing, even though we know that those voices were there. If you look at medieval history, it's often the voices of women that were missing, even though we know women were there. Those voices are just often left out because they weren't controlling the narrative. They weren't writing the narrative. So I love that Cheryl Ann has taken this on. And I love that it has a very positive message to it. And so I just want to read to you one piece that I think is great, because she says, while Thomas Jefferson did not live by his own words, which is all men are equal, he gave us an idea to work for, equality for all to pursue their own happiness. And I think that that's a really great way to explain this history to kids, especially, that yes, you know, there were some great things going on, but there were also some really negative things going on. And we need to look at both of those things. There needs to be a balance so that we have an accurate picture of what happened, and so that we move forward in a way where all men are free and equal. So I did just want to share one thing that I thought was really interesting. The day that this book came in the mail, I had also bought the O magazine. So I read this book first, and then I opened the O magazine, and the first thing that I opened was this little snippet of an article, and I actually am going to insert it here so that you can read it for yourself. But it is about Thomas Jefferson's black descendants. And so I could not believe, sort of, you know, every once in a while the universe will say, you know, this is something you need to be doing. I really think that was one of those moments where it was like, okay, you know, you read this book, it's a great book, we're going to move forward. And then to open that and I don't know, it was just a really cool moment. So I'm going to insert that here. So if you haven't checked out Cheryl Ann's YouTube channel before, it's Teaching History Her Way, and I will put a link down in the description below, as well as her Instagram page. She caught my attention because I love history, but she does really great history lessons through cooking, and I love cooking, I love eating, and I love history. So when I saw her page, she was dressed up like Ruth Bader Ginsburg and was in her kitchen, and I thought, who is this woman? And you know, I need to know more about her right away. And then to go on and find that she's written this fantastic book. So definitely subscribe to her channel. Buy the book. I will link it. It's available on Amazon. I will put a link down below for that. It's a great book, and like I said, it's really important that our kids get those blanks filled in that we don't always think about when we're thinking about history. So, you know, I'm Canadian, and I thought this was a fantastic book, and definitely will be sharing it with my class. So, you know, American teachers, for sure, you need to share this book with your class. Parents, it's a great book to read. So thanks for watching, and I hope that Cheryl Ann is working on a follow-up book, because I want to read more. So thanks for watching today. Remember to subscribe and make sure that you watch next week's video. See you on Friday for a science experiment.